accountability. So I'm going to shift to Robin, and she's going to take you through then what does that look like in evidence-based leadership.
And one of the things we talk about with the evidence-based leadership framework is that it's based on growth. It's not based on an arbitrary figure. So we begin with this continuous improvement flywheel. And at the hub of the flywheel is what we want, all of us want to achieve, and that is excellence. And what does excellence mean? It means every district department, every school in every district is excellent. That's when we achieve excellence. Not perfection, but excellence. So that's what we're after. And as Janet talked about, in Studer Group, they really focus on a flywheel that talks about passion, and that's what we have. The reason we're educators is because we care, we have tremendous drive, we want to accomplish. Principles, those are our guiding points. Those are our values. And then the results, how do we measure how successful we've been? And it was interesting, one of the presentations yesterday talked about the fact that as leaders, we have to focus on compliance at first until people see results. Results really motivates us. Think about it. They used a story about a little league team, but think about those little ones. When they're really motivated to practice is when they see the payoff. And so we're not much different. The outer portion of our flywheel is what you're going to hear a lot about today. We begin with diagnose. Where's our starting point? What do we know? Where's the data? What does the data tell us? Once we have the data, we create an action plan. And we actually take action to grow, to improve. And then we have coaching and facilitation. And then along the way, we validate. Quint Studer likes to say, I trust that you will do what you are supposed to, but I want to verify that you do. And that's that validation piece that's so critical. And then at some point, we assess. So when you're looking at evidence-based leadership, there are really 4 steps that we'll talk about. Most districts, or all districts, have vision and goals. You might have a strategic plan, and that's sort of a starting point. But then we create something called a district scorecard that really pinpoints what are the priorities. Not the 22 things, but just a few. And then we say, how are we going to measure those? And what processes are we using in our district to really reinforce that? That scorecard is closely tied to all leader evaluations. So the scorecard sets the priorities of the district, and then every leader evaluation is aligned to those priorities and to that scorecard. The leader measures on the evaluation are the same as those measures that are used by the district, unless there's a reason to use different data. What comes out of the evaluations, though, is the significant piece. Action plans. If we want to achieve a goal, how are we going to get there? What is our plan of action? And we follow up. Once we identify all of that, this is the coaching piece. There has to be professional development. There has to be training. There has to be coaching to help people be successful. The purpose of the evidence-based leadership is for everyone to be successful, to everyone to move to excellence. That's the purpose. So here's a template for a district support card. This is what it would look like. The items across the top, student achievement, service, people, finance, quality indicators, those are what we call the pillars. And the pillars are really the values. These are the things we value as a district. And they go across the scope of the district so that everybody is involved in that scorecard. You are touched in some way by that scorecard. Student achievement, that measure would be those standardized tests. that are used by your state or your district to measure student achievement. And those goals are set very specifically. Stephen Covey talks about a goal should be, I want to move from here to here by this time. That's what we're talking about, a very specific goal. Service. We identify service by looking at two things: a support card survey and a parent satisfaction survey. Service is with our internal and external customers. The support card survey measures the degree to which school leaders are satisfied with the service they receive from district departments. And that's done every 45 days to provide some formative measures as well as summative measures. The parent satisfaction, as Janet talked about earlier, that is that summative measure. It is based on each school, and each school receives a parent satisfaction survey result mean that can be used to help them improve. And you'll hear some information about that a little later. The people goal has to do with the people we work with every day. And that's that employee engagement survey that Janet talked about. It's engaging employees. And we define engagement as leaders providing an environment where every staff member, every employee can be successful at the highest level. So that's what we're looking for. The questions are very simple and speak to engagement, involvement, participation. Finance goal is pretty simple. It's that effective and efficient. Are we going to increase our reserve, our contingency? Are we going to do something else that's going to make us more efficient as an organization? And then the quality indicators speak to those operations departments that have very specific measures that they use to measure their quality of service. So that would be the scorecard. Those would be the goals. And then you would have formative measures to check your progress and those action items that we talked about. I want to put myself back in an old position. In my previous life, I was director of secondary education in my local district. So if my district had this scorecard, and I was thinking about my evaluation, the district goals, I would align my evaluation to those district goals, but they would be specific to what I do. So for student achievement, I would own the achievement of every secondary school, every middle, every high school. So my evaluation would depend upon the success of every school that I supervise. Service, support card, obviously my department would have that evaluation. But the parent satisfaction, I would own the parent satisfaction results for every secondary school. That would be a part of my evaluation. So that's that cascading up and down. And each leader's evaluation is a little different. And that's the reason for that. I want to show you some results, not to compare or praise or anything, though we could, but to really talk about maybe some situations that people often think about. The one thing about evidence-based leadership is it's transparent. Everybody sees everybody's data. So this is the support card, and remember this is the satisfaction with district support services. This is baseline data for the 6 districts that we currently work with. The 4.5 is the ultimate goal of every district. They want a district mean of 4.5. That's that excellent level. Now, the expectation would not be that every district moved to a 4.5 at the next administration. It is a slow, steady increase. That's what we're looking for. And this is that baseline data, that first time, and so it's incremental movement. And parent satisfaction also is part of that service pillar. And this is from School District of Janesville. And you're going to hear from them in just a bit. But they have been our partner for 4 years. Guess what caused that jump? Principals went on the leader evaluation. It's when people own the goal that it becomes significant. So that was that jump, and you can see that they have remained fairly high, and their participation is high. Santa Rosa County, we'll hear from Tim Rosdick as well in a bit. Their parent survey mean and participation increased with leader and teacher evaluation. And their teachers also have a part of that parent satisfaction in their evaluation. And this is Charleston, and Charleston is our newest partner. And so this is really baseline data. We did a December survey. People didn't really know what we were about at that point. I think they thought we were going to go away, but we don't ever go away. And so, but what I want, this is so significant to us, is that once those principals own that, the participation almost doubled. And they were really disappointed that they didn't hit above that. So we anticipate great things out of that. Employee engagement is much the same way. It's a steady increase. This is from School District of Janesville. Employee engagement means are always lower. These are the people you work with every day. Always a little bit lower than that parent satisfaction, but you're looking for steady growth and increase, and their participation is fairly steady. This is Santa Rosa County. Santa Rosa County, remember, went on teacher evaluation in 2011-12 school year. So their participation really increased, and their mean remained steady. What we hear, especially from principals, is, oh, you can't do it at that time because we're sending out those letters that say, you know, thank you for your service, but we really are not sure about next year, you know, all that stuff. So our point here is to say, if you've been engaging with people all along, those things are really not going to have that type of effect. It's that continuous engagement and involvement of those. And then Charleston, you can see that growth. And I think, again, it's that realizing that this is real for school leaders and encouraging employees to really take part and participate. Themes for today. As you're listening to the presenters, we want you to think about 3 things that we often talk about. What we permit, we promote. What we measure, we value. And what we recognize, we get more of. So think about those things as we move through the day. Remember that our purpose for today is to really exchange ideas, to talk, to be engaged, and we want you to be. You're going to hear from board members and chairs, and from superintendent, and then finally from those 3 high-performing principals. You're going to hear their stories, and they are very compelling.